Hi, good afternoon or good morning. My name is Ian MacArthur. I'm one of the account managers here at SolidCAD. I'm here with Masan, who's going to be doing a pretty significant deep dive demo style presentation of Autodesk BIM 360 docs and design. I think a lot of us currently are in a situation where we're all working remotely, and this is a fantastic tool that's not necessarily made for a situation like this, but does a fantastic job of allowing people to work in a similar fashion to how they would be if they were still in their offices, working with people directly. It's a really great system. So before we get into it, just going to go over sort of briefly a few slides. Just to cover a little bit about us, for those who don't know who SolidCAD is, the types of products we sell and services we provide, a little bit about some of our package service offerings revolving BIM 360. So who we are and what we do, a lot of you are our customers already, some of you may not be. Obviously, we're an Autodesk reseller, but we also provide services like training, BIM consulting, data management and collaboration, which is really what we're talking about today. Scan to BIM services using products like the Matterport, Leicas, and Faro scanners, software customization, and automation as well. For those who don't know, Autodesk has extended a commercial version of their BIM 360 trial through May 31st. This is in response to the ongoing situation revolving around COVID-19. You can sign up on their website. It is a little tricky. It's not as easy as signing up for a regular Autodesk product trial, but we can certainly help get everything set up, and that's something I'll talk about in a little bit. There are a few restrictions with what it's able to do currently. While BIM 360 Design does work with Civil 3D and Plant 3D with a paid commercial license, it doesn't work with the trial this time. And if you have already or in the past signed up for BIM 360 Design or document management trial, or even collaboration for Revit, as it was called in years past, unfortunately, you can't access the trial. There's something to do with that data being stored and it blocking a new trial from being activated. So there are a little bit of a few restrictions there. SolidCAD has had some package service offerings for quite some time regarding BIM 360 to help people get set up and running properly. It is a fantastic tool, but if it's not set up properly, there are some limitations people could face, or they're not using it correctly. In response to the situation that everybody is facing now, we have sort of created a condensed, short and concise version of it, which is called our Quick Start Guide. It includes some orientation and setup and configuration, end user onboarding and training, as well as project deployment for a few projects. It's a half-day session typically. We only have space for about 10 participants, otherwise it tends to get a little unruly and it's hard to make sure everyone's walking away with good value and they've learned the appropriate things that we're trying to get to them. And it does not include configuration of a master project template or templates for other projects. For customers who want to go a little bit deeper and want a full implementation, this is what we've been offering in the past, where we really plan and scope out what your project requirements are, what stage you're at in terms of how you're going to be collaborating, go through that same setup, but much more in terms of like a master template type idea, end user training and onboarding for both administrative and end users. We help you go live with your projects and make sure everything's working the way it should be. And then when the project's ready to close out or move to another stage, we want to go back and review everything. What did we learn? What are next steps? All that sort of stuff. If you have questions about either of these offerings, feel free to reach out to myself or to whoever your SolidCAD rep is, and we'll happily give you a few more details about it. Here's our contact info. I'll leave this up on the screen just for a minute in case people want to take a screenshot or write it down really quick before I pass over control to Masan to dive into BIM 360. All right. All right, Masan, I'm going to make you presenter now.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ian. Just give me 1 second.
hire somebody to take a boat inside and do an ultrasound. And that's how they come up with the depth of the lagoon and take samples.
Are you seeing my my screen? Yeah.
Because what he's looking for, yes, conduct a study of the current slip lagoon loading. Okay, but he told us when we were out there that they've never emptied it. So
Sorry, somebody else's. Huh. Okay, there we go.
Do you see it correctly?
Yep, you're good.
Excellent. Introduction. My name is Mahsan Omid. I'm a technical BIM consultant with SolidCAD. And today we are going to go over a little bit about what we are having in BIM 360 and collaboration participation, cloud connected teams.
Hi, Masan, really quick, can you flip your slides? Because we're seeing the next slide.
Do you
So
see it?
if you go up to the top where it says display settings there, the very top of the window, yeah, click that and then swap. There we go.
There you go. Excellent. Thank you very much. Just as Ian was saying, we are in a very strategic time in our construction project management, where a lot of construction firms are supposed to be having all of their staffs to be for having shifting all of their efforts. Will be having their staff work from home. And SolidCAD is responded to customers' need with a spike of the cloud collaboration support and solutions for collaboration on the cloud. Okay, so let's see what are the challenges that we have right now with construction project management. Does any of these seem familiar for you? We are having a lot of challenges, and with the construction going on remotely from each of the party applications, we are going to be having a lot of challenges from the peers and from the subcontractors and from the engineers working at the same time on the same project. But what are the issues here? Behind the collaboration challenges that we are having on a day-to-day basis, we are leveraging a lot of different technologies to solve our problems with the designers and the site coordinators and even the people who are managing the construction. One of the tools that we are getting is FTP or SharePoint solutions, or design implementation, various different kind of collaboration tools that we are using, but some of them are super expensive. Some of them are not designed for collaboration with the CAD and BIM models, especially with the implementation of BIM platform into the construction industry. Taking on very rapidly, we are having problems and challenges like this. Designers and engineers and contractors and owners are not working on a seamless basis on an execution plan. Have you ever had any kind of issues when you're sending different versioning of your project coordinations into the site, and unfortunately there's a lot of errors going on the site because the superintendent is not printing the very last version of your design, or there's a lot of mistakes that are very expensive to mistakes and errors that are very expensive to ratify. These are the real challenges in the construction industry. All right, so then what do AEC professionals need as in the moment and in the construction reality right now? we are having, they need different kind of tools that are coming together and allowing the life cycle of the project data from the pre-design to the pre-construction, field execution, and handover operations. With the BIM 360 solutions, a lot of these, most of these challenges are addressed. As you can see from the left-hand side corner of my screen, you are going to be having access with AUTODESK Architectural and Engineering and Construction Collection with a lot of software coordinations that you need on a daily basis. And from the fact that Revit itself is also creating a lot of collaboration needed at addressed in the industry. And then the other thing is that the BIM 360 is one connected platform that addresses all of the information needs that previously all of the designers and construction workers and field execution people were working on a silo away from each other, and they didn't know about the data that is transferred. It gathers all of those information on one platform, which we call that BIM 360 document management. And on the side, on the right-hand side, that you can see, you can the BIM 360 platform is making it easy for the third-party applications, such as estimators and technology builders and so on, to be easily creating some kind of like very easy to use programs to be accessing the data using Autodesk Forge. All right, let's talk a little bit about the platform, shall we? We're going to be talking about BIM 360 document management, which is the platform that you're seeing. It's going to it is going to be involving all of the parties involved, from the pre-design, authoring collaborations, permitting people, to the pre-construction and construction, to the field executions, and even after the handovers and operation managers. All of the different services, collaboration services that you're going to be purchasing is going to be permitted or performed on top of the BIM 360 document management. That means each of these services, from the BIM 360 design, which is essentially for collaborating between the parties involved, BIM 360 model coordination, which is basically just like a Navis works on the cloud for clash detection and coordination between the different parties involved. BIM 360 Build, which is the field execution part of your project, and BIM 360 Building Ops, which is doing all of the data transfer through after the handovers. All of them are going to be installed on top of the BIM 360 docs. That means each license that you're going to build, you are automatically, by default, you're getting a license from BIM 360 docs. And then you will be able to transfer all of your documents on top of docs. Let's talk about the building, the construction industry. What do the construction industry need? That the BIM 360 is going to be addressing those needs. They need access to shared platform for design collaboration for designers. They need capability to understand design intent and resolve unforeseen issues, so issue coordinations. And they need complete data set and feedback loop for operations and maintenance, RFIs, for example. From the IT management solutions, they're going to be needing a platform that is having open and standard a lot of different file formats, as we are working with a lot of different file formats in the construction. They need the integrated and administration so that the IT part of it is very easily administered. They need interoperability, such as all of those data that you cannot extract from your Revit files or PDF management files to be automatically extracted on a very easy to use kind of platform for programming, such as Revit API and Autodesk Forge. They need data privacy and security, so different kind of permission levels that when you're going to be sharing your document, you can restrict access to involved parties and unlimited data storage. All of them are addressed with the BIM 360. At the same time, aside from the BIM 360 docs, you can be getting an automatic and free to use downloadable action of desktop connector on your design, which is basically what it does is connecting all of your different kind of folder instruction standards in your company to your BIM 360, or basically mimicking whatever that you have on your desktop to your BIM 360. So it goes into all of your Revit files. It addresses all of the AutoCAD files, including all of the Xrefing systems inside of your AutoCAD files, and mimic it the same way on the BIM 360. All right, so let's hop on to what BIM 360 document management has to offer. With the new generation of the BIM 360, which is taking the version control of very recently from Revit 2018.3 and further, it is one solution, one platform for all of your document controls. You can publish, it's a single repository solutions for publishing all of the different kind of files, including PowerPoint, Word document, Excel files. The clouds are also connected with the Office 365 collaboration, so you can basically put all of your document management for your construction project, all of your Excel construction estimations on top of the cloud. And then using the BIM 360, instantly editing what are all of your documents on the Office 365, and they are going to be automatically taken into account. It has the OCR title block. That means you can take a look at all of the data and attributes that are in your PDF, in your DWG files, and then you can tell BIM 360 document management the next time around that you're going to be publishing your PDF files, where to go to find out the sheet names and numbers specifications. You can put the sheet separations and the sheet set coordinations into your publishing as well. You will have document control, means that document registry of your project, which sheet set is it going to, when is the benchmark for your project, when is it due, access control and version history control. You can assign to those subcontractors that you don't want to see everything on your BIM 360. You can restrict their access to a specific folder, or you can restrict their access according to the 5 different levels of permission control, and I'm going to be talking about that in a minute. Also, you can actually do version history. What does version history do? When you're going to be publishing something, I'm making a multi-sheet kind of PDF coordination, and one of my sheets is updated from an engineer. I can take a look at which one is having a next version and then compare the two versions using the color coordination into a set. You will be having a mobile access. You can have all of your document connections exactly the same way, and the folder structure that you are having in your laptop, also at the same time on your smartphone and on your iPad. You have a 2D and 3D viewer for revision controls and viewer control. You can access all of the objects individually and then change them. And take a look at the properties, the way it's done inside of the authoring software such as Revit. You will also create some markups, issue managements. There's a federated place on the BIM 360 document control for issue management and creating reports for the field execution part. Let's talk about each of these. So you can publish. You can basically create an OCR for multi-page PDF that can have been broken apart into individual sheets. You can extract all of those information inside of your sheet. So the next time around that you're going to be publishing the set, it will automatically go and find the important information from your title block. You can upload both linked file and non-linked file design inside of the project. So before I'm going to go into the document control, let's go ahead and talk about the different kind of options you have in your document management, shall we? So this is a typical user interface inside of your project. On the top of your BIM 360, you're going to be having the naming of your account, BIM 360 account, and all of the projects that you are invited or you are actually adminning the projects inside of it. Inside the left-hand corner of your project is showing you this kind of dashboard where all of the services that you are having in that project per se is showing up, and you can go into different kind of modules and services that you have purchased for your BIM 360. And then on top of that, for each of those modules, you have different kind of options as you're going to be creating. For example, the member control inside of your project is going to show up here, and then you will be having the option for adding or removing people from this project, and then using this filter list, finding the specific people inside of your project, assigning the company for all of the applied parties that you are sharing documents with them. You can assign the roles to them. For example, Andrew, I know that he's a construction manager, so I can assign construction manager to him, and then making him an admin person or a regular member person inside of your project. You can go into companies and restrict the different access of the company members or the whole company to your project. For example, if you are an architect that is the prime consultant of your project, most probably you don't want to restrict their access, but if it's an engineer that you don't want to see all and manipulate all of your important documentation, you can restrict their access throughout the company. You will be having services. By the time that you are purchasing the service, those services are going to be available for you whether or not you decide to be activating. For example, in this project, I haven't activated the cost management project, but as you can see, I have been activating the document management, and I'm having the admin level parties involved. If I want to be adding somebody else to this project, I can use it using their project email address and the role for this project. And then lastly, you can be creating your project. You can be creating like a snapshot of your project in here, specifying what type of a project, what type of a construction, how much is the ultimate value estimation for the whole project, what kind of a project, and then if I'm going to be editing that, you will be able that you are having all of these different project coordinations, start and end date, and the project address and the time zone of your project. Okay, so let's go back to what is the document management has to offer for us. So inside of the document management, as I said to you before, you can be creating different kind of subfolder structures. As I'm going to talk about on this bar on the left-hand side corner of your document management, you're having two different kind of folder structures. You can have plans and you can have project files. Plans are basically referring to the benchmarks and milestones of your project. If you're going to be creating some kind of, let's say like 50% construction documentation or issued for construction or whatever that you are going to be submitting to the actual execution, site execution, or you're sending this for permitting level, for example, for reviews, are going to go inside of your plans folder. The project files are basically a work in progress kind of collaboration. As you can see, I'm having a lot of different parties involved, and each of those parties on a regular format, let's say at the end of each week, they are submitting their work in progress, and they are going to on these folders. Any of these folders, you can be creating a subfolder for them. Say city permission, for example. And then you can upload to that next folder. With your publish coordinations, you can have a couple of automation you can be having in place. For example, if I'm going to go on create on my city permission level and then upload multiple page of PDF, I'm able to be adding them to set, let's say this one. And as soon as uploading the files are going on, You can assign the different sheet numbers and names, and I'm going to model that for you in a minute. You can review the results and define the layouts, and you can extract all of those information according to your need of creating the metadata inside of your project, or adding them into a set. So if I'm going to go OK and create them, while this is extracting on my folder, I'm going to be creating a set that these sheets are going to go assigned to. So as you can see on the top, it says it's not set assigned. I can maintain this to upload not to a set, or I can assign them a specific set coordination. So for example, let's say I'm having some existing set coordinations, let's say 100% design development. And then it's taking the date and the sheet set coordinations on that. If I'm having a template creation, so for the next round of publishing, if you want to be creating some kind of template creation with regards to what is the title block or whatever sizes that you're going to be specifically having, you will be assigning them to a specific template. Right now, I don't want to be adding any template in here and show you how it's done. So until this processing documentation is actually finalized, I am going to go back to my PowerPoint presentation and talk to you about some more features that we have. You can assign permission levels for different roles, by different files and folder creation, or set according to the company name. You can invite and share files with both internal and external team members, and you can batch control the permission set. As you can see on this, any of those folders that you're going to be having in your document management is having some kind of permission set, and according to the role of the creation. For example, the project management is normally having an ultimate level control into all of the permissions and all of the folders. So you can access them according to the 5 steps of view and upload, view, upload, and edit. And the last version, which is control, is that the version that you can actually invite people in your project and assign people the permissions. Version control and tracking. So once you're going to be having 2 different versions of your document set, or even more different versions by the time that you're synchronizing in your Revit, BIM 360 automatically taking into account the different versions that you are publishing in different timing. And then also using this kind of color coding comparing tools, you can actually, if this is such a big project and you won't want to go into bits and pieces of details inside of your project, you can actually use those versions to see from the previous version, where is my previous version has been changed side by side. The color differentiation can also be changed for the people who are having issues with the specific colors. 2D and 3D support. You can view and you can mark up and you can edit and publish both in 2D and 3D drawings. You can toggle between the 2D and 3D views. You can better understand the design intent using the 3D views and toggling around and going throughout all of the BIM 360 three-dimensional format. So what it does is basically putting your Revit file and making a smaller version. A smaller means that the smaller size version up on the browser of your internet browser, to be taking a look at how the design intent is actually coordinated and communicated in both 2D and 3D. You can reduce the need for creating PDF. Basically, BIM 360 can be replacing PDF creation format for you. And then also, using the BIM 360 browser, you can be creating different kind of markups in the drawings. Actually, markups are not the only thing that BIM 360 Docs is enabling you to do. You can create RFIs and you can create issues, which is actually connected between the BIM 360 Docs and BIM 360 Build, which is when you're going to be creating different kind of annotation inside of your project. It collaborated with the people inside the site execution so that they can reference all of these markups and RFIs and issues, and then address them and close the cases. As I said to you before, you can create issues inside of your PDF documentation or a 3D documentation, and then assign it to a specific person that is responsible for that specific issue. And create a deadline for them. Speaking of different version scenario, if you were to create another version, a new version of your project, not only you are having different kind of scenarios in the 2D and PDF version, you can be seeing all of those single elements inside of the Revit with the color coding, with all of the specific components inside of your design. The color coding meaning is anything that is newly added are turning into green. Anything that was removed from the previous version is turning into red, and anything that was modified turning into yellow. Okay, so let's go back to document management and see if our sheets are created. Yes, it is created. Now I want to be defining different kind of sets inside of it. I want to be specifying the OCR calculation inside of this project. So I'm going to be selecting that. I'm going to select define. I'm going into something that has the title block. So OCR specifications is actually showing up in there. And I'm going to use the image crop to select the title block area, this area, and then define the metadata. So the next time around, it is actually going into that area and picks up the important data in there. So I'm going to go on crop the view on that corner, and I'll go to next. I'm going to be creating title block information. For the title information, I'm going to call this I'm going to, for the project number, I'm going to specify this little area. And you see that it automatically picks up that number. And I'm going to say the sheet title is going to go on this area. And it automatically picks it. So as I'm going to be saving this, it is picking up all of those metadata information, and it takes on the extracting of all of those data information. So while it is extracting, I'm going to go out and I'm going to be showing you some kind of more different data. So take a look at these multi-set sheets that I was uploading before in my project yet. If I'm going to be selecting any of them, the browser is automatically taking me into the sheet that was created. And as you can see, there are many different things that I can do in here. I can create markups. As you can see, there are 2 markups already created. I can create issues, and these issues are connected with your field format and the issues federation inside of your document management. I'm going to show you in a while. I can create an RFI, 2 different RFIs created, and I can take a look at the history of these sheets and the sheet coordination sets that was created. Inside of each of those elevations and sections, as you can see, there are kind of hyperlinking going on, which when I'm going to be selecting on all of that hyperlinking, so I'm going to be recreating another hyperlinking in here. So add a new hyperlink. I'm going to put it on, let's say there. And then as you can see, that hyperlinking is directing me into that second floor data sheet. So as I'm going to go through each of these sheets, it's highlighting all of those sheet models that is supposed to be having the hyperlinking in them. And clicking on them is automatically taking me to the specific sheet that they have. Also, inside of your elevation, if you're hyperlinking your floor plans, similar to what is going on in Revit, right-clicking on that, it takes you to that floor plan idea. I'm going to be creating one more new markup creation so you can see it. So I'm going to be creating like a cloud around my window, and I'm going to make this highlighted in yellow, and I'm going to add a text into this and saying that these windows are going to be fire rated, and saving my markup. Now, as you can see, it automatically created and saved on that markup filter. So once you're going to be selecting, you can edit that markup afterwards. Or if you're having multiple different markups, you can sort them out by date, or you can filter by the name of that markup creation. One more thing. I'm going to be creating an issue. And let me go ahead inside of the issues creation and tell you that where all of those issues are going to be. Inside of your document management, under issues, you will be having like a federated view of all of the issues that so far has been created and whether or not any of them are answered or not. So the issue that I just created, you can be changing them into the different kind of permission. You can be having them created a due date. So let's say today is the due date for this. And the person that I was assigning this to has to be addressing that due date and then close the specific status of that project. So if I'm going to go back on my folder and create inside of that project, create a new issue. Let's say this door needs to be fire rated now. And I'm going to be assigning my project coordinator and making a due date for the end of this week. And create that. As soon as I created that issue, you see that my issue is created, issue number 14, and the status is open. So if I'm going to go on my issue viewer in my project, I can take a look at it, add an attachment, like using my cell phone, create like a snapshot of what the issue is having. It is also taking all of all of the activities with regards to that specific issue created. And then if I'm addressing all of that, I can change the status to be answered and closed. And it's automatically changed to closed. One more thing. So let's go back to the document management and take a look at the publishing. This was the publishing that I was doing. Let's go ahead and view that. Now you can see that it was taking up all of those metadata that I was creating inside of my project. It is giving me an error for my first page. It's normal because I don't have any title block on my first page. It picked up everything and it picked up the sheet set creation and it's ready to be published. Excellent. Okay, so Let me take the questions. Ian, do you have any questions about BIM 360 docs so far for me?
Nothing yet has come in, but if anybody does have any questions, we'll give you a couple minutes now. Type them
Absolutely.
into the
So
the
while I'm
questions field.
finishing, absolutely. While I'm finishing up on BIM 360 document management, I'm opening up the floor for everybody to take a look at what it's done, if you are having access to it, and if you're having any questions with regards to that. Now let's talk about the permission access inside of your project file folders. As I talked to you about, the project files are the work in progress. There are different kind of teams that are collaborating at the same time on that website. As you can see, there is like an architecture going on, interior design, structural design, at the same time, collaborating with each other.
Really quick to interrupt you, we do have a question that's come in from Anthony. This question is: design, coordination, build, and ops are all separate licenses?
Yes.
The answer to that is yes. They all include document management, but not everybody within your organization is going to need access to all of them, depending on the phase in which they're involved in, whether it's the actual design collaboration side, or if they're doing some coordination and clash detection. Things change. Not everybody needs access to everything. Lishu actually brought up a good point in the question field as well. You can actually provide access now. This is a new feature that Autodesk announced about a week ago. You can now provide access to people who do not have licenses of BIM 360 docs to view files, which is something that's been a highly requested feature for a long time. Those people no longer need full access just to view specific files. If they want to do anything like markups or track issues and anything like that, they would still be required to have a license provided to them. But for just viewing, for just downloading a specific file, that's no longer a requirement.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Lishu. So while we are on that subject, let's talk a little bit about permissions of different parties involved and who has the access and who can view and who can edit different things. If you're going to be on any of these folders under the project files, right-clicking on that, and there's a permissions going on inside of your projects. I'm having this many people as an architect that are collaborating with each other. So if I'm going to be adding another person, let's say,
You can try me.
you are
I don't know
already
if I'm in
having
there.
it. What is that?
You can try me. I don't know if I have any permissions or anything.
I don't think I have you in this project though. I can try, Ian. No,
No.
sorry. But you get the point, right? So you can be adding the email address and the name of the person that you want to be adding permission to that folder. And then you are the person who is making the ultimate choice of whether or not you want them to be only viewing whatever that you uploaded in your project. You can view and download, or you can upload only, or as I said to you before, the ultimate measurement of other people, team members' access, I would say view and download and upload and edit. The full control, I'm going to reserve this right for the construction project managers and the admin people inside the project, because this full control is enabling you to be adding people to your project, and other people might not be aware of your design intention and adding stranger people to your project. Also,
Anthony's asked another question here, and it's really about Revit versions and then how that fits into BIM 360. So his question is, if he's using Revit 2017.2,
yes.
how does using BIM 360 differ? And the answer to that is it's actually sort of an older legacy platform with older versions called Collaboration for Revit. When you buy BIM 360 Design, you are granted access to that, but all the features we're going over are really specific to what's called the next BIM 360 Next Gen, which works for Revit 2018.3 to present.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ian. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is that if you're an architect and you want to be always having this access to the folder, and then provided the link of whether or not somebody is uploading a new kind of sheet or Revit files that is going to be available for you to be consumed. And this is the new terminology, to be consuming. You can right click and then subscribe to that folder. So the thing that this does is automatically generating the email subscription to your email address, the email address that you have in Autodesk, and provide some kind of automatic notification for your project.
Masan, there's another question that's coming. It's more it's specific to Civil 3D, so I don't think we can answer that now. The question's from Karen, but about how it works.
Would you like to just read it? And
Sure.
I'm going to put it on the parking lot for at the end of the presentation.
For sure. How can BIM 360 work with Civil 3D, updating surfaces and linking them to the project?
Okay, thank you very much for your question. And if you let me, I'm going to push this for at the end of the project where I'm answering up all of the questions and answers. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and talk about, I was talking about the 2D version control, but I haven't talked to you about the 3D. When you're going to be working on projects, such as this is the project that I'm working on in the Revit, how do I put this collaboration, BIM 360 collaboration, is directly involved with basically design intents and work sharing that is going on under Revit with the design collaboration. So I'm not going to be talking about the collaboration, BIM 360 design yet. I'm going to talk about what happens when you're having a model like this and you want to push this into on the cloud, such as this BIM 360 demo, which I was putting it on top of my project, BIM 360 Solid CAD. So if I'm going to go on the collaboration tab, I'm having two different kind of commands was added from the 2018.3 and further. It's basically, I'm collaborating this on the cloud and I'm publishing the different settings that I have. So I can be creating a new kind of setting, let's say Calgary or City of Calgary permitting. This is a new set that I'm creating, and I'm going to go inside of that set. I'm going to be only creating that 3D. I can actually decide to be adding a lot of sheets, elevations, and other views. I just decide that for this project, I'm going to be only adding one 3D and save and close. And the fact that I am creating this up on the cloud and the synchronization is turning on for me means that I'm collaborating on the cloud. And if I was putting some of these projects on the cloud and it's not showing up, I'm having another command called manage the cloud's models. In that case, this is the viewing inside of your Revit project up on your projects that you are having on the cloud. So you're going to be selecting the right kind of project that you're working on, and you're going to be having different kind of app actions. The fact that I'm having that check mark beside of this project that I'm working on a collaboration, that means I was successfully putting this model up on the cloud on that date and time. If the check mark wasn't in there, it would be saying like that there was something wrong and it didn't go on the cloud. So I was collaborating on the cloud, I was setting all of my work sets accordingly. Going up on the cloud, you will be having access to the 3D version of your project. And you will be having some kind of viewing options, such as orbiting, panning your project. You can measure different data inside of your project, for example, and verify different data that you are having inside of your project. You can create different sectioning methods inside of it. So let's say I'm going to be making a Y section analysis and going through your project and taking a look at how different data are configured. You can move your section creation. And so on. Down in here, you are having the properties exactly the same as the property view that you are having in your project. So for example, if I'm going to be selecting one of these basic walls, the specification inside of that wall is actually showing up. So you don't need a Revit license for comparing the different data inside of your project. And then also you can make this a split mode if you are having any kind of like a 2D version. I seem to not to be having that 2D version, but I'm going to be splitting it for you so you can see the 2D and the 3D at the same time in the same place. And as I said to you before, you are going to be having a version compare control. So if I'm going to be selecting that version 9 and versus version 8, for example, let's say if I'm having a version 8 of my project, I'm going to be selecting each of these. Actually, version 9 was good. I'm going to be selecting these two different versions and compare them using the 3D-dimensional axis. It seems that there is no difference between the two versions. But if it was, it would be highlighting the view for you. All right, so I guess I covered most of the BIM 360 document management. I'm going to take another round of questions and I'm going to dive in because it's 12:04. I'm going to dive into BIM 360 design if you wish. Ian, any new questions?
No new questions have popped up. Let's dive into design and design collaboration.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about design collaboration. The qualification of the design collaboration is basically when I'm going to be on the Revit file and previously where we were on the Revit file, we were creating different work sets for different people, and then each of those people working on at the same time on Revit. Right now, this extended for bigger projects such as for our architects going to be collaborating with the engineer, and architect is going to be manipulating and managing all of the data throughout the document management and also in the site coordination. and managing the different kind of data coordination, such as RFIs, such as issue creations, and talking back and forth with all of the parties involved inside of your project. The way it does in the BIM 360 design collaboration is this. I'm going to be having group number 1, and as I was telling you before, the work in progress on that is that they're going to be create. Let's say group number 1 is an architect. They're going to be creating different iterative of the design and review, and they're going to be publishing their Revit files up on the cloud. As I said to you before, there are many kind of folder applications and many kind of different file formats that BIM 360 Docs is creating it and taking it. Let's assume that this shared project data is on BIM 360 Docs, as well as soon as you're going to be enabling your BIM 360 design, different kind of parties, different different teams that are working inside of that project are going to be enabled and automatically created on BIM 360 document management. And at the same time, it's automatically be creating a timeline inside of the BIM 360 design, which I'm going to be talking to you in a minute, of the benchmarking process of sharing and coordinating different parts of the data in your project. So architect is going to be sharing and packaging, and the terminology is packaging their Revit files up on the BIM 360. It is going to go on the BIM 360 document management, but it also automatically enabling the different team formats in BIM 360 design. The mechanical engineer, let's say, or an interior designer in this, let's say, design group team 2 is the interior designers or mechanical designers. They are going to be also on BIM 360 design. And there's a notification saying that architect was sharing this up on the BIM 360. Let's go and review that. They are going to be on the BIM 360 design, reviewing, and again, another terminology, and consuming the data inside of their own BIM 360 docs. And then at the same time, they are doing the same thing. They are creating their own version of mechanical design or interior design according to the architectural background, making iterations of the design, and then sharing and packaging back on the BIM 360, where in turns it is available for the architect to be packaging, reviewing, and consuming it. Okay, so I'm going to go further to that, and I'm going to dive into the user interface. Inside of your dashboard, you will be having access to this little command called design collaboration. This little circle is enabling the design collaboration for you and enabling different teams. The fact that I'm having a shared document and many different teams inside of it, that means that this work is collaborated through BIM 360 design. And whenever you're going to be putting any Revit file, once it's going to be uploaded on the shared folder on the document management, and at the same time, it is going to go on the design collaboration. And this is the user interface that you have for the design collaboration, where on the top, you're going to be having all of the parties involved, all of the teams that was created. inside of your design collaboration timeline, you can specify the exact date. So you can decrease the process into the exact date specification, or you can actually increase it all to all of the parties. Any of these bullets that are emptied out, that means it was created as a package, but it hasn't consumed by the other parties yet. And the ones that are filled is showing that it is packaged and also consumed by the second party. The ones that are circled are the coordination between the different kind of disciplines. The ones that are rectangular is the sharing inside of the team. Under that, you're going to be having any of these projects. So for example, I'm having one of these, let's say this project that was created. This was created by the architect. It was created as 3 sets of different designs and 1 model, 3D model. You can actually clicking on each of the items and take a look and explore the items and take a look around. That visibility setting inside of the document management is also available in here. Take a look at different issues that was coordinated accordingly. So all of those viewers, you're still having it inside of the design preview. You can be having different kind of teams. For example, if I was having the structural team and I didn't want to see only the architectural team, I'm going to be changing the visibility settings of them. I will be having, if I'm going to be having different kind of design phasing inside of your project, it is also available for me to go through all of the phasings. I can see different levels. So for example, I'm only going to be seeing the ground floor. It is going to be making the rest of your project invisible for me and see all of the data inside of it. Let's go to see all of them. And then if you're going to be having any content inside the browser and any change in the visualization, it is going to be showing that for you. Ground floor. Okay, so let's say I was actually having views and sheets to be consumed. What I'm going to do is selecting that bullet and then selecting that consume folder. What it does is it is going to be, let's assume that I'm a structural designer and I'm going to be taking a look at all of the different parties applications. So I'm a I'm an architectural designer and I'm going to be consuming one of the structural designs. So I'm going to go on inside of the structure. I'm going to be selecting that set that the architect was sharing, and I'm going to be consuming in my folder. As soon as I'm going to be selecting the consume button, it is going to be automatically creating a folder in my structural team members in my BIM 360 docs and create an automatic folder called consume. And that folder creation with the version control of it will go into that consume folder. Let's go ahead and click on that and see what happens inside of the BIM 360 document management. So I'm selecting that and I'm going to consume that. It says, are you sure that you want to consume this package? Sure, go ahead and consume that. And first of all, you see that that bullet that I was creating is now filled. And when I'm going to go on the document management of my team now, and inside of my structural project, now I'm automatically having a consumed folder with that architectural file consumed inside of it. And the version is now derivative of version 6. That means that the new version that I was just consuming, just in case that you're going to be having a round of different kind of packaging and consuming between the different parties creation. If I'm going to be selecting that Revit model, everything that I was creating and consuming is now going to be available for me on a format that I can go ahead and take a look at them and then measure them and etc. etc. This is BIM 360 design collaboration. So I'm going to stop here and ask if you're going to be having any questions about the workflow of BIM 360 design.
Yeah, nothing's quite in yet, but we'll give people a few minutes.
Okay.
Did you want to answer Karen's question now about how Civil 3D and everything can be worked in here?
Sure, absolutely. So inside of the Revit, from the 2019 and further, it is created another application for Revit for the BIM manager site design coordination, the specification of the project base point and survey point. And then inside of the Civil 3D, there is another button. Unfortunately, I don't have Civil 3D on my desktop to show you, but I'm going to be showing you the workflow. Inside of the Civil 3D, you can put your Civil 3D up on the cloud as a DWG file, and it's going to be making all of the triangulation and everything calculated as a 3D surface, such as all of these 3D surfaces that I was showing you. And then you can go ahead and take a look at them, very similar to the DWG viewer. And if you are going to be creating terrains and so on, the BIM 360 is calculating all of the terrain coordinations and the coordination points and points calculation up on the BIM 360. Now, this workflow is a very new workflow. It's not perfected yet, so there are lagging involved and some things that need to be perfected, but it's on the way for AUTODESK roadshow. So it is coming in the new version.
Leishu made a comment that Civil 3D 2021, which may have already come out or is imminently about to be released, is going to have the best functionality with BIM 360.
Excellent. Yeah.
Anthony has some questions about, he's asking if we can elaborate on how teams are created and how teams are granted access to the project.
Absolutely. By the time that you're going to, let me go into my project and see. So I am enabling all of the shared party applications. I'm going to go into my BIM 360 design collaboration. If you are new to BIM 360 design, once you're selecting that design collaboration, you're not going to see all of these format coordinations in here, and you're not going to be seeing all of these timeliner. It is prompting you to be creating your different team members, which I was creating, and then it is prompting you to be selecting the color of each of the teams. So for example, if I'm a mechanical designer, I'm going to be able to see this timeline and then the architectural timeline for the available packages that is available in here for me. If I'm an architect, however, I'm going to take my MEP hat off and I'm going to be an architect. I'm going to be able to see how the mechanical designer was publishing their sets and what is available for me to be creating the package. So the fact that I have been creating all of my teams already, as soon as I am creating my team, it is going to be creating this timeline in my design collaboration. B, it is going to create a folder in the document management called shared folder, and it's going to be having all of those different teams inside of it. And so all of the rest of the workflow that I was talking to you about is all going on in the background. It's automatically created. So I haven't been creating a new folder called shared inside of my document management. I haven't been creating that consumed folder as soon as I'm going to be creating or packaging or consuming one of these shared coordinations. All of them are automatically done automatically.
So when you're creating them in document management, that's going to translate over to design collaboration. Is that right?
No,
And vice
I'm
versa?
going to be
No?
creating my teams inside the design collaboration.
Okay.
Yeah. So the fact that I was enabling my design collaboration, I don't have any access to be creating the teams for you. Let me see if I can. Let's say this one. This is another project that I was working on very recently. And I'm going to be on the design collaboration. And you see that it says, set up your collaboration design, the architecture that is existing. I'm going to be creating architecture only. And okay.
Would you be creating teams for the consultants, or the consultants creating their own teams with design?
That's a very good question. So when we are going to be having collaboration involved with different parties, from my experience, most of the construction projects, the BIM 360 docs is hosting all of the subcontractors and engineers. So let's say Ian is going to be the prime consultant and an architect of this project, and I'm a sub-consultant, or I'm a mechanical engineer of this project. He's going to be assigning me to this project, and then as soon as I'm assigning members, remember this, as soon as he is adding me to this project, it is going to be forming, like sending an email to me saying that he was adding me to this project. So I'm invited into this project, and as soon as I'm accepting the invitation, I'm hopping up into the project. So as a matter of fact, even when I'm going to be working on the BIM 360 design, which you have to be, as a mechanical engineer, I have to be purchasing my design license in order to be collaborating with Ian. I'm going to come with, there's a terminology called bring your own license for design. So I have to be putting my team communication up on the BIM 360 design myself. But for this specific project, I'm using the BIM 360 document management of Ian's company. Did I answered your question? So I'm going to be having my own docs license, but all of us are going to be using BIM 360 document management of the prime consultant. When it comes to collaboration, however, I am going to be using my own license for design collaboration with the architect. So each of the sub-consultants and the engineers are bringing their own licenses.
Yeah, so every consultant will bring their own BIM 360 design license, but the team will be created by whoever is hosting the project, so the prime consultant or prime architect. Emma here has a question about working with BIM 360 and what the differences between syncing and publishing is.
Very good question again. So when I'm going to be synchronizing, the latest version of my design iteration is going to be synchronized with the cloud. So as soon as I'm synchronizing, it goes inside of my cloud, and then it creates a new version on my BIM 360 design. But until I'm clicking on that point and creating a package and then publishing it or sharing my project up on the BIM 360, the other parties are not being able to see that there's an update available in my project. So this dot has to be created by hand, manually. The rest of the stuff is very automatic. Ian?
Yeah, we only have a couple more minutes before this is over. So my suggestion now is if you have any questions, feel free to contact us offline via email. We will also be following up with everybody who participated to to ask if you have any questions, and then we can help you get those answers. I'm just going to take back control really quick just to go over those service offerings again as a reminder before we sign off. Okay. So you should be able to see my screen there.
Yeah, we can see.
Oh, stuff's going on here. Yeah, so as a quick reminder before we all sign off, there's two offerings we've sort of developed. Again, while the solution is currently being offered for free from Autodesk, if it's not set up properly, you can definitely run into a lot of difficulties with it. So sort of a solution to that, we've condensed a short offering, about a half day, which is our quick start guide. Get you set up, do some end user onboarding, help you deploy 1 or 2 projects, get you going there. And then if it's something you see as more of a long-term solution that either you want to replace your own internal server system for storing your projects and move it to the cloud, or if you are going to be collaborating with other individuals or other firms and are tired of FTPing and emailing files back and forth, this is sort of a tailor-made solution for that. We have our go live with BIM 360 and design package service offering, which is more of a front-to-end total solution. Yeah, so again, thank you everybody who's attended. It was a long one, 1.5 hours, so thank you very much. Again, here's our contact info on the screen now. And like I said, we will be reaching out to everybody who has participated. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them then. Okay.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.